am I dreaming? No, I'm living in my dream.
Hi there, before we start, here's a quick introduction. This is me, I'm Axel, and this is Christian. We are both biology students from Iceland. For those who don't know, it's a tiny isolated island located in the northern Atlantic Ocean with only 300,000 inhabitants. It gets quite cold and dark in winter, but the summers are nice. Anyways, I'm quite passionate about wildlife, and so is Christian. He especially loves fish very much. And parasites. Separated, we are quite calm and relaxed, but together, we share one brain cell and chaos ensues. Well, anyway, so one day, I'm chilling in class when our professor announced he was going to be taking students with him on a research trip to Madagascar.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Yeah, I like to.
As excited as can be, we ended up joining him with 20 other students. Together, we will be splitting into research groups in which we get to choose what we're going to research. Christian and I formed a group with 5 other people in which we will study frogs and invasive plants in the Madagascar rainforest. This all sounds too good to be true, so of course there was a problem. We had to pay for everything ourselves. And let me tell you, it is expensive to fly across the whole globe. We are talking all in all around $5,000 US.
Mauricio, I can't move it anymore. Mauricio.
So as broke students, we had to find a way to finance this. Option A was to be an honest, hard-working citizen by getting a part-time job, or option B, sell pictures of our feet on the internet. After some careful considerations, we managed to gather the money necessary, but a couple of weeks away from the trip, our professor had another announcement to make. He was taking 3 extra people with him on yet another research trip, this time on Mount Kenya to look for some new spider species. Our professor is a renowned arachnologist, so Christian and I had to jump on this opportunity, and any kind of fear of spiders had to be thrown out the window. This kind of opportunity is very rare, but again, we had to pay for everything ourselves. We continued our original money-making plans and managed to save up some more money. We took the cheapest route to Madagascar that we could find.
Oh my God!
Flying with Egypt Air and stopping in Egypt was our cheapest option. So the trip, all in all, is as followed. A 2-day stop in Ireland, another 2-day stop in Egypt, and then straight to Madagascar with a flyover in Kenya. We stay for 2 weeks in Madagascar, adventuring through rainforests and researching frogs and invasive plants. Next, we go back to Kenya, where we stay for 10 days, camping in the Kenyan bush and researching spiders on Mount Kenya. Then we fly back home. All in all, a month-long trip. So without further ado, this is our journey. King Julian, here we come! Well, we made it to Dublin. As we passed the streets, our first thoughts of the city was that it was very pretty and calm. That opinion changed quickly. We dropped our belongings at the hostel and went on a quest to find food and explore the city. We tried the local food and took a quick stroll around. We found Christian's favorite place, an Irish river, an Irish park, and some Irish people.
Oh my god.
At the end of the day, we counted all the redheads we saw. It was 0. And went to bed. The next day, we had some errands to run. We saw some local wildlife, the weird portal thingy, robbed an entire fishing shop, ate at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, found the local dealer, and enjoyed the typical Irish weather. And that was it for Ireland as we headed back to the airport for our next destination.
إضاءة علامة ربط الحزام. لربط الحزام، أدخل اللسان المعدني.
We were a bit worried before landing in Egypt because we did not have an entry visa for the country. All I knew was that Christian was in contact through WhatsApp with some random guy called Muhammad who was going to show up and hand the visas to us in exchange for some US dollars in cash. This sounds a bit shady, but thankfully, once we landed, we met up with the guy who did indeed give us a visa in exchange for some dollars. The first thing we noticed once out of the airport is the insane traffic. People drove any kind of vehicle, many homemade, and had no regard for any traffic law. It was just a constant honking battle. We tried to cross the street, but that was a daunting task. After trying for a couple of minutes, without success, we followed the local and managed to cross. And we have our own tour. Yeah, so here's a bed, 2 beds, and we also have a mirror. Yes, very nice mirror. That's me. Hi. So, we have 1.5 days to spend in Cairo. We wanted to do some sightseeing, so we hired a guide who took us through some of Cairo's best places. His name was Muhammad, and we also had a driver whose name, you guessed it, was Muhammad too. First, we went to see the triangular-shaped buildings. They look a lot like the Giza pyramids. Once we arrived, I was denied entry due to my zoom lens on my camera having too much of a zoom because there was a military base far away and they thought I was trying to spy. Thankfully, bribery is common here, so I just gave some money to the guards who happily gave back my lens. I then managed to get some decent photos. We went inside the pyramids and almost died due to hypoxia, but it was well worth it. We then rode on camels in the Saharan desert.
The essence of the human being, the power of the land, definitely looking always toward the east, protecting
We went to a restaurant to try the local food. Going in, I wasn't expecting much. Once I tried it, it was one of the best things I've tasted in my life. The flavors melted into a burst of sweetness, each one colliding in a vibrant clash of this unique taste. To say I was delighted would be an understatement. Right next to British food in S tier. After that, our guide started telling us his life story while sightseeing.
Students from everywhere in the Islamic world coming in a scholarship, which is paid by the Egyptian government and their embassy.
Yeah.
And the Civilization Museum, but not that much.
Yeah.
So, for example, this is a small place of 250 square. It's really bad. Like, it was so embarrassing for us as Egyptian tour guides to take tourists to these areas. It looked really bad, smelled really bad with so many beggars.
Yeah.
These people were the Egyptians to start a very early civilization.
Yeah.
So this is one of them. You can take your time looking at it. And then who told you it's 250? I don't know. Receptionist or?
Yeah, I think it was him. Yeah.
From your hotel. And this is where I took some extra courses after my university degree in Egyptology.
We finally got some rest and enjoyed the sunset on the Nile River. Today, we leave Egypt and go straight to Madagascar. But before we go, we have to check out the bazaar.
في شغل جاي يوم السبت عشان يتحط فيه.
Soon enough, little kids started following and interacting with us. At times, we felt like movie stars, as we were stopped by kids all the time.
Hello.
You're popular.
Yeah. Hi. How are you?
They're trying to practice their English.
Ah, yeah.
And that was it for Egypt. Before arriving, I had heard of travelers having negative experiences, but mine was quite the opposite. I found the people to be welcoming, respectful, and happy to share their culture. I can understand why some may have had different experiences, as the culture here is vastly different from modern Western culture. The country is deeply religious, a woman's rights are limited, but from what I observed, Egypt is on a path of a positive change. The nation is becoming wealthier, poverty is decreasing, and infrastructure is improving. However, I can imagine that as a woman, the experience might be quite different from mine. In my view, when visiting a new place, it's important to respect the local culture, even if you don't necessarily agree with or like certain aspects of it. It makes for a much better experience. Anyway, let's get to Madagascar.
10 المتجه إلى دبي يرجى التوجه إلى البوابة رقم F10.
Now, when we landed in Kenya, we assumed we could change flights without needing a visa. Oh boy, we were so wrong. Our flight to Madagascar was departing from another terminal, which meant we had to pass through immigration. Although we could buy visas at the border, they required payment in cash. Unfortunately, we had no US dollars left, having used them for our Egyptian visas. At that moment, we thought we were doomed. How could we pay for the visa without any dollars? That's when Christian had a brilliant idea. He used the leftover Egyptian currency we had to negotiate with the border officials. He had just enough to persuade them to accept it, securing our 2 visas. An hour later, we were through with borders at the other terminal. Well, we did it. We made it to Madagascar. Right now we're in Antananarivo. Or in short, just Tana. For the first week, we go explore the country. And the second week, we start our research projects. As you can see, this country is unfortunately heavily underdeveloped. Madagascar ranks among the top 10 of the poorest countries in the world. There is currently famine and extreme poverty, almost no medical care, and many conflicts. An employee from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs came with us on this trip, and he is going to assess the current situation in Madagascar and see if our country or the other European countries can offer some help. Anyways, we met up with our professor and other students from Iceland, and finally arrived at our hotel after traveling without sleep for over 30 hours. We were exhausted and without brain cells.
Shaminamina, waka waka, shaminamina sankarewa, it's time for Africa.
Speaking of no brain cells, I had the great idea of going for a walk outside, late at night, all alone and without any phone reception. On this short 10-minute walk, I saw things I wish I could unsee. Let's just say there was a lot of gang activity and extreme poverty. But thankfully, I got back to the hotel safe after being followed and harassed for a while. During the night, gunshots were heard. 80% of the population suffers from poverty and 40% of children are malnourished. I wish things were different, but this is unfortunately the harsh reality that I am now seeing with my own eyes. The next day, we went exploring the city a bit and headed to the zoo to see some local animals. We jumped in a local taxi, which ran on fumes. It was the most torn down vehicle I have ever seen, but somehow it was functioning. And now we're at the zoo. And look right here at what I found. This is Darwin's bark spider, which is only found in Madagascar, and it's silk. It's the toughest biological material ever studied. Wow. Remember this scene in Spider-Man 2? Well, researchers from the University of Leicester tested if with the Darwin's bark spider silk, Spider-Man could have stopped the train. They found out that yes, indeed, he could have stopped it with his amazing spider silk. Now, one of the scientists who discovered the spider is Ingi, our professor, who is with us on this trip. How amazing is that? Hopefully we discover some more cool species. We ate some lunch, and I found that the food tasted weird, so I checked at the back to see the kitchen. Yep, that's where the food was made. Well, needless to say, Christian got diarrhea from this food. Before going to bed, I went to an ATM and took some money out, because where we are going next, there won't be any ATMs and no wireless transfer possible. I took out 1 million Ariaris, which is the currency used in Madagascar. I am now officially a millionaire.
3 hours later.
Phew, we made it to Morondava, a beach town in the west of Madagascar. Why are we here? It's simple, to see huge baobab trees. But before seeing those trees, we could enjoy the sun, while Christian was spending his day on the toilet seat.
This is nice.
After some nice rest, we headed towards the Baobab Avenue. Now baobabs are these huge trees only found in Africa and Australia. It is often called the upside down tree, as its branches only grow at the top, which looks like roots. The trunk is massive because water is stored there over the dry season. Madagascar is often called the country of baobabs due to the fact that 6 of the 9 baobab species are only found in Madagascar. Now the next day, we get out of civilization and head to the Kirinti dry forest, where we hope to see some cool animals.
Aramaite Ilambatika Kotona Kotona Atikatrana Mite Tarana Tike Afakamu Tapakania Sala Kotona Kotona. Saitiale Isuratamba Kotona Kotona Ilamba Pani Akua Vita Fine Ikucha Kuchanamba Awatukatamba Kotona Kotona Yanamalale Isajatura Lamata.
After a very bumpy trip, we made it to Kirinti in the middle of nowhere. We sleep in tiny huts in a little village where there is no internet connection. The sun is going down, which means we are going for a night hunt in the forest.
I love you. I'm ready to move it.
After searching for lemurs for hours, we finally found one. We weren't really successful in our lemur hunt. It was dark and late, so we decided to head back the next morning to hopefully see more of them.
The Bobabale Adansonia grandidiri. The grandidiri has oval fruit and the branch is flat. And Adricipodapus.
Since watching Zubumafu as a kid, I've always wanted to see lemurs in their natural habitat. Now the two lemur species I really wanted to see were the Sifaka lemurs and the Indri. Sifakas are found here, and we've been looking all over the place for them without any success. This species is critically endangered and really hard to find. But just before heading back, we heard some movement above us, and when I turned around, this is what I saw. I don't have much footage of it because I quickly grabbed my camera and took many photos. As I said before, Sifaka lemurs are critically endangered as their habitat is being destroyed at an alarming rate. They like to jump from tree to tree and eat leaves and fruits. They are very social creatures and quite curious as they came close to us to check us out. After seeing all the attention the Sifaka lemurs were getting, some brown lemurs got curious and came super close to us, to the point we could almost pet them. Now after seeing all these lemurs, we headed back to our base, but before leaving, I somehow got dragged along on a secret mission with my Professor Ingi and his colleagues to go scout for a location for a possible new spider species. His colleague had an old sample of a potential new spider on which was written on Kirindi, Madagascar. That's where we are right now. This spider is most likely found around a body of water, so our goal right now is to find this body of water before sunset and come back there at night, as we believe that's when the spider is most active.
No, I mean tonight maybe we should wade the river.
Yeah, we could. I do have them with me, yeah. I mean...
Nei, við erum bara þessum í kvöld að vera með vasko, þannig við bara getum farið bara út í hana og það er aldrei að komast.
Now, that's what we did. It's nighttime and we are looking for that spider. Right now, I'm barefoot in the river with all sorts of bugs crawling on me. Lots of mosquitoes around, but we don't care, we must find the spider. Whoa! We found a big spider web, which could host our desirable spider. To collect it, we must suck it.
Nice Argyrodis. Okay. So, you're gonna bring it over here?
Yeah.
So, have your hands out in case.
Putters.
Put her out.
Ready?
Yeah. Wait, where? Easy. Easy.
The klepto is
Yeah.
decent somewhere.
Bring.
Here somewhere. See, what? You have
Ha. Kunkel on me.
You have it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The others? See.
Beauty.
Is that one here?
Yeah. No.
This one there.
Yes.
Did I get it?
It's a baby, but...
To check whether it's the spider we are after, we have to bring it to the lab and do some more observations. So for now, we are done. While wading our way back, we found a snake, of which I got some nice photos. I also found a giant Nephila spider.
Hvað er að gera það?
Nei, ok, ég skal sinna þetta, After our little adventures on the west coast, it was time to head to the east coast, where we will find ourselves in a rainforest. There, we will meet up with the Madagascar students and start our research projects. Now to get there, from the west coast, is not easy. We can't exactly take a plane to the rainforest, so we had to drive there on very unsafe roads, going through many villages and hostile environments. The drive there is supposed to take 2 whole days, with a quick stop at night in a little town for sleep. Oh boy, this is going to be so much fun.
Zakuzavana vaumaranaina zareo tolole matikope fenofeno mameno ty fomitoro ranomaso mirotsake ola lavitra mantsy lay tany fodina lay tany aviany zakuzavana vaumaranaina zareo tolole matikope fenofeno mameno ty fomitoro ranomaso mirotsake ola lavitra mantsy lay tany fodina lay tany aviany Gulungul ya wanatikao la vikava timura makala warnawa vala vitanawa Sukumyada natima meler mya finira timare senar musyo vityava kwanawa Demudiawe twave tungucho siariteli sunya de chupaki Demudiawe twave tungucho siariteli sunya de chupaki
Salut, demain comment? Hello.
Excuse me, there is like a, I would like Is there somebody does?
Taratandusausa miloko embonembona tampona karatra vezivezy tsy mety mitombona reny aiala salavitra sasamievy ra lavidina ranao tsisy vovoka tao kilalao taratandusausa miloko embonembona tampona karatra vezivezy tsy mety mitombona reny aiala salavitra sasamievy ra lavidina ranao tsisy vovoka tao kilalao Ulungule wanatikao lavikava natimura makalawa nawa Falavita nawa Sukumiata natima mele rimyafumira timare sena rusio.
The next day.
Vezi vezi timeti mitumunare nyai ala salavita Sasa myevu nira lavutina rino tisivufu katokilalao Ulungule wanatikao lavikava natimura makalawa nawa Falavita nawa Sukumiata natima mele rimyafumira timare sena rusio Vitiava kwa nawa Demuja wetu retumbucho Siari jeli sunya de chupake Demuja wetu retumbucho Siari jeli sunya de chupake Rakutavuna vamarandena zaratumlema kijupe Fenu fenu na menu tifumitura ramu masumiru chaki Bula lafta mansi laitani fudina laitani afia kwe
We are finally here in Analamazuatra. After meeting up with the Malagasy students, it was time to start our research projects. Now our group has two projects going on, the plants at daytime and frogs at night. For the plants, we are taking notes of invasive plant species along trails in the Analamazuatra rainforest. We believe the invasive plants to be human-mediated, meaning that they spread out due to human presence. The trail we picked spans around 8 kilometers and goes deep into the forest. Our hypothesis is that we expect to see a bigger number of invasive plants at the start of the trail due to more human presence, and the deeper we go into the forest, there will be lesser presence of invasive plants. We will also take a look at the amount of invasives away from the path itself to see if the invasives are more abundant next to the path or further away from it. This could be interesting as it gives clues how healthy the rainforest is. For the frog research, we have to do it at night, because that's when frogs are most active. We are going to be making random transects on a tiny trail and count all the frogs we manage to see with the help of a frog expert. We are counting them outside of the regular mating season, which could be interesting data. We do this to compare the frog numbers from a study done in 2015 and see how the data differs from almost 10 years ago. This will tell us more about frog abundance outside of mating season and how it has changed these past 10 years. This is what Christian and I are doing, but some other groups are also doing their own research, most of them about spiders. We might also help them a bit if needed. We started off preparing samples for collecting, then headed to the forest in the rain. We saw some guys from National Geographic on our way. Why are they here? I have my idea. This forest, Analamazuatra, where we are right now, is home to one of the rarest mammals on Earth, the Indri lemur. They are the largest lemur species and are critically endangered with only a couple of thousands individuals left. They do not live in captivity and are only found in the eastern rainforests of Madagascar. Their population is declining due to habitat destruction, poaching and more. They are often called the ghosts of the forest due to their silent movements between trees and their ghost-like singing. In Malagasy culture, they are called Papakoto, which translates to ancestor, and it is believed their ancestor singing is a wailing for those they lost. Well, I'll be on the lookout for them. Anyway, we reached our destination and get started on our research. For now, we scout the frog area and take a quick look at the invasive plants which will be researched tomorrow on the 8-kilometer track. While scouting, we heard some distant entry calls. They exist. But while distracted, I got behind the group. That's when I see a little snake. With the little brain cells I have left, I had a great idea to touch it.
Oh, brother!
Well, you guessed it, I got bit. I don't know what kind of snake it was, but I was fine afterwards. Well, anyway, we had a nice Malagasy dinner. I went to sleep early for the big trek tomorrow. We set out our plans for the day and started our trek. In the middle of the trek, we will split up into 2 smaller groups. One group heads back to count the invasive plants, and the other group continues the trek and counts the remaining invasives. We went deep into the forest on our own with no guide. What could go wrong? Well, wrong it went. So, when we got to the middle point of the trek, we split up. Our group went on to continue the remaining 4 kilometers. As we counted the plants and headed deeper into the forest, the trail started to get smaller and smaller until it split into many parts. We didn't know which way to go, but earlier, the employee from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Iceland came with us on the trek, and he went ahead of us a couple of minutes ago. We followed the path with the fresh human tracks, but as we went further and further, the path got narrower with vegetation covering most of it. After an hour or so, we realized we were lost. We were so lost. We didn't know the way back, so the only logical solution was to go forward on this narrow path. After some hours, we found a sign which translated to roughly, danger, forbidden access.
Yes.
Now, we were starting to get a bit desperate, but that's when we heard some car noises. We weren't far away from a road. We followed the noises, which after another hour of walking, led us onto the road. We did it! There, we were able to call someone which came to pick us up. In the car was our friend from the ministry who had also gotten lost. We had walked through the reserve and most likely found a path used by poachers. All was good in the end, as we got back to camp safely, and even with some data as we managed to count some invasive plants while lost. All was good, apart from Christian, who had gotten a trench foot and was unable to walk the next few days. We had many group members getting sick, but we managed to finish our plant project the next few days. At night, we went to count the frogs. In total, we saw 16 frogs, most among the Boophis genus, which is more than a study from 10 years ago. Interesting. Now, we're done with our research, so it was time to find the injury. I decided to go with a spider group and help them out at another reserve not far away in hope of maybe finding the ghosts of the forest. While walking along a path, we heard some strange noises. We rushed uphill, out of breath, to find the animal who made that sound. It was a black and white rough lemur. It was far up in the canopy, so I didn't get any footage of it. Well, long story short, we didn't find the injury, but we got some spiders, which is most important.
Or shower.
I don't blame him.
Nej. Får gräs.
Ja, kastar alla lite av flad.
It's the last day in the rainforest. We apparently still have some plant counting to do, so I could only hope for a miracle encounter with the injury. But if you believe hard enough, miracles can happen. While counting our last plants, I heard movement above me. I followed the sounds and saw brown lemurs. They were cool, but not what I hoped to see. That's when I heard the singing. The injury. Well anyway, this is pretty much it for Madagascar. We headed back to Tana and had a farewell meal with all the Madagascar students and private dogs.
Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent.
Well, when one journey ends, another one starts. This is where our Kenyan adventure started. But Christian and I are not going alone with our Professor Ingi to Kenya. Another friend of ours is coming too. Andreas is coming with us. He's a master student from Iceland and is really into ants. He is even more chaotic than the two of us, so as three together, our brain cells will stop working completely. Spoiler alert, they did. Well, the night before our departure, we watched Madagascar 2, where King Julian and his friends go to Kenya. We hope to follow in their footsteps the next day. Well, we are in Kenya. Our plan here is simple. We rented an old jeep for 10 days. We are going to drive ourselves around the country, go to some national parks like Olpajita Conservancy and Mount Kenya. At Olpajita we hope to see the last 2 northern white rhinos in the world. More on that later. We plan to camp there for 2 nights and then head to Mount Kenya, where we plan to meet our Professor Inge for his spider research, where he has clues of a potentially very interesting spider that will be new to science. We stay there for 2 days and then head back to Nairobi, where we will decide the rest of the trip. Once we pick the car at the hotel, we had to navigate the Nairobi traffic on our own.
Okay, skrivdes. Eller kilometer från
Ja, for lite kilometer.
Ok, det innstedene da?
Møla. Det innstedene?
En løs å finne ut i.
Go. Her ser du.
Gi meg aldri for å se ham.
Now, after driving for the whole day and almost getting arrested by the police, we were getting close to the park. Now this is where it went wrong. We followed Google Maps, which had led us onto a field with what you can barely call a road. We could only go forward and soon realized we were completely lost. The sun was getting low, so we had no time to spare and tried to get onto the main road. Thankfully, after some twists and turns, we managed to get onto a road and found the park entrance just before sunset when the park closes. Now once in the park, it was a surreal experience. First, we saw some zebras grazing and then suddenly we came up to a giraffe feasting on a tree.
Wow!
The night came quickly and we had no time to stop to admire the wildlife, as we were still far away from our campsite. That's when we stumbled upon an armed guard on his duty. He jumped in the car and showed us the way to the campsite. Once there, Andreas dropped us Christian with the tents and went back to drop off the guard where we picked him up. After Andreas dropped us, we realized what we had gotten ourselves into. We were all alone in the middle of the African bush with lions, hyenas, hippos and more. It was pitch black and we were honestly quite scared. I don't think I've ever put up a tent as fast as I did that night. Once the tents were up, we heard a loud roar next to us. We rushed into the tents and didn't get out until Andreas came back. The animal who made that roar had apparently left, so we quickly cooked our dinner and went straight to bed.
Jeg må skjære ekkert ned I bita.
This is absolutely surreal.
So fry or grill at 85 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes until evenly cooked.
15 minutes. Ja, 15 minutes.
Oh my god.
We woke up at dawn after a nice sleep. The plan today is to go see the last 2 northern white rhinos I'll then drive around and find some African wildlife.
So before they died, we collected their sparks. Yeah, and as well we collected the eggs for the ladies.
We left the rhinos in awe and spent some time letting the facts sink that we just saw the last two northern ones. We then headed out to explore the African megafauna.
Stoppa. Stefan, dat vind ik oude red beef worden.
After one afternoon, we had seen giraffes, zebras, elephants, hyenas, antelopes, rhinos, baboons, water buffaloes, and many, many more. So many cool animals. When the sun started going down, that's when the trouble started. Our car got overheated next to some elephants and was unable to start. We had to wait for it to cool down while hoping to not get attacked. We managed to start the car again, only to get stuck in the dirt. With our Viking strength, we managed to push it out and headed back to camp. The sun was getting low. We saw some more wildlife on the way.
What's happening?
We were late to our camp and it got pitch black. Close to the camp, we saw a baby elephant rushing across the road. That's when we heard a loud trumpet sound from the mama elephant.
Ja, det var bra bruna. Det var bra bruna. Det var bra bruna.
We heard an elephant running behind us, so Christian pressed down as hard as he could on the gas pedal, and we were out of there in a heartbeat. We got to camp in under a minute, but thankfully, the elephants were out of sight. That's when an even worse thing happened to us. We had let the tents out for the day, only to return to one of them broken. Something heavy had stepped on it and broken the bars. Now we were even more scared, as this meant that big animals were roaming around us. Even though pitch black, we started looking for clues for the culprit. We started walking down the road when we saw big rhino footsteps and quickly realized who the culprit was. We headed directly back into the car. We made dinner in a hurry and ate on top of the car. Christian and I were brave enough to still sleep in the tents, even though they were broken, while Andreas slept in the car.
The next day.
Today, we leave the reserve and head to Mount Kenya, where we will meet up with our Professor Inge. We woke up early so we could see some more wildlife this morning.
Dat is een sprit ook. Hvað segir þið?
Við erum að gera ef það veit að þið kýta á það.
En þau vita það ekki? Er það saman fólki frá þaðan?
Nei.
Sko það stýrir frekar þannig að þið tekja eftir
Það er á mig. Þið eru öll að horfa á einhver. Ef við spurðum það ætlum ég að segja.
Jájá.
Hey look, this is cool. We are on the equator. Right now, I'm on the northern hemisphere. And now, I'm on the southern hemisphere.
Það ætti að breyta einhverju.
We had to celebrate a bit, so we tasted the long-awaited chili boom boom that we had bought in Nairobi.
Það lyktar vel.
Það er ekki gott.
Ok.
Þetta er brotið.
Er þið tilbúin? Herru. Gissa skál. Stendur Ísland með einn.
Já, þetta er alltaf að standa með henni sko.
Skál.
Stenst chili boom boom mætting þetta?
Já. Ég verði að segja. Þetta er mjög bókstaflega chili boom boom. Þetta er ógeðslegt. Ég hef smakað betra slag.
At this point, we got a message from our Professor Inki to meet him at the lodge on Mount Kenya. We used Google Maps and got lost once again. This time, we didn't make it before sunset. We drove around tiny villages until we found a dirt road that at first seemed to lead us to nowhere.
Nei, ekki meira. Nei. Hvað fucking lykt er þetta?
Ólífólílykt.
Hvað af heildarleginu?
Á, Andreas. Sko, ég get ekki bakkað þetta.
Until we somehow stumbled upon the lodge where Ingi was at. And yeah, once again we have a room tour. Yeah, so this is our bed, and it's a nice bed. And here we have our bathroom. At least we have electricity, I guess.
Er þetta?
Þú lokaði það?
Ég er það í bjórum minn.
Lokaði.
Axel, ekki opna hana meira. Ekki opna meira, Axel. Þau munu borða fucking kex á okkar.
Nei. Get ekki opna það. Irritating hairs.
Já.
Það mjög ólíkt að það getur bita mann eitthvað. Það svona byrjuð til að... það full?
Anyway, it's time for the plan. We met Ingi and he told us what we were about to do. So Ingi has a sample of a spider that he believes could show social behavior, which is very rare among spiders. This sample is from the late 20th century and was stored in a lab in California. On the sample, it is written Mount Kenya, which is the only thing known about the spider. Now Ingi tried to contact the original arachnologist who had gotten the sample. Unfortunately, he was long dead. But by some miracle, his wife was still alive and had stolen all his diaries of his previous travels. She sent us copies of his diaries in Kenya, and in there he had mentioned the spider that we are looking for, and drew a map of where he found it. On the map was a waterfall, which Michael, who is hosting us at his cottages, thinks he knows where it is. So our plan tomorrow is to go with our host Michael to the waterfall and search for the spider. Wow, what a series of fortunate events. I'm sure everything will go to plan tomorrow, right? The car refused to start. After the mechanic came over, there was no solution than to jumpstart it.
And 1, 2, 3.
Ja, nou.
Kannaðist ekki við litin á henni?
All the like fine muscles in the foot. So,
I'm a gentleman. Maybe it's part of the tree, so it's maybe wrong spider, but it looks similar. Okay. Can we reach it? No. Only the stick. Okay, maybe.
đâu cái cổ qua tại kia con rồi lên. Đâu có cái gì tại kia.
Eru þeim ekki græði hólfið í hnippnum, eða finnum við?
Rồi nó ta đi đâu ta đi. Rồi chị chị.
Ég að býta með eitthvað leður upp. Það er í fólki. Okay, someone ready to catch me if I fall. Okay. 100 kilo. 100? Ja.
En dat is een kreeg som vi sitter og brokner, har vi død.
Det er det. One bit here.
Undir sem voru upp með allan veginn. Já, en skal vi prófa það?
Is there a bite mark? Ah, just here. Yeah, 200 here.
Just be careful.
Yes.
You see, they're still finding them.
Oh, they're still coming.
They make the bite. And they fight.
En hvað var hinn Jörgen stóri sem kom inn í jörna?
Ég veit ekki, hann leit mér bara þetta. Ég þarf að sjá inn í þessu.
Það er sama glas og þínar.
Já. Enjoy.
After a long day, we made it back with a half-broken car that we had to jumpstart twice, but at least we have some samples that we have to go through. Hopefully, our spider is among those.
Þetta klárlega 3D, þetta
Þetta mjög intuitive, unintuitive eins og segir.
Já, þetta alltaf í svona öfugt, sko. Og allt einhvers þar losna helvitis gljáa þarna.
Well, after going through the samples, we have one specimen that could be our spider. But for 100% confirmation, we have to do some DNA analysis, which we'll do once we're back home. But for now, it's a success. Tomorrow, we want to go to the other side of the mountain, where we can find primary rainforest, and there we hope to see the spider in more abundance. But for now, Michael, our host, invited us to a cook-off.
Við erum að kvölda á sama tíma, sko.
Já, það
gott. Þú líka.
Did you cook? I mean, I'm a hungry man, so... Yeah. I think we have a lot of meat.
Kenyan food, S for spicy. We woke up early, had breakfast, and went to check on the car. We needed it working today, as we were going to drive for 3 hours to the other side of Mount Kenya, look a bit for some spiders, and then drive another 3 hours to Nairobi, where we will decide the rest of the trip. We tried to start it, and still nothing happened. Soon, it became clear to us that we had to jumpstart it by rolling it down a hill. Then, we had to keep it going all the way to Nairobi, where we can see a mechanic. But first, we have to get on the other side of Mount Kenya. Everything was going smoothly, until just at the entrance of the park. We were going uphill, and the car died. Now, we kinda panicked, as we could not start the car again, and were stuck on a steep slope. Thankfully, some rangers came to help us, and were able to jumpstart it again. They parked the car at the park entrance, facing downhill, so we will be able to jumpstart it again, later. We then went looking for the spiders. Now in this park, we had to have an armed guard with us due to aggressive elephants roaming the forest, and also against poachers. Our guard told stories on when he had to use his gun against them.
Okay, where's the web? Okay, so...
Þetta ekki góða hnífur. Ég kom með hníf með tönnum.
Yes, okay. There you go.
Ah, there we go. Somebody knows what they're doing. That's good. That's cool. Good as haft. Það fyndið að vera einhver gangur hérna. Já, svona. Það ákveðin húmor í því. Það ákveðin húmor, það svona. Eftir þessi átök. It would seem
Just how do you do it? If you can maybe show me. There's...
Okay, that one to cut. Maybe this one shows you to support the strong, just one strong one. To support there. How to?
Frekar þetta sé eins og annir sem styrki heldur en hitt.
Like not,
Það ótrúlega það sé ekkert í þessu.
Ah, okay, so it's much easier to chop.
Can I try this one here?
Yeah, not strong enough.
I guess, how heavy are these?
These 78 kgs.
78?
Yeah.
I think Inki will have to take this one.
Thank you.
Ready.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, come on, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, one more, 15.
Whoa!
Well done.
You're in shape.
Wow.
We managed to jumpstart the car again with some help. Said goodbye to Inki and left without any spiders, but at least we had a specimen from the day before.
Andreas! Andreas! Andreas!
Hvernig Nei, Andreas, þetta Google Maps. Hvað á ég að segja? Við áttum að fara sömu leið tilbaka, Andreas. Þú sagði Google Maps. Ég sagði sömu leið tilbaka. Sömu leið, þú sagði hægtur sömu leið. Ég meina, ég bjóst við því.
Now, we cannot stop at all on our way to Nairobi, as it would be hard to jumpstart the car with just the three of us. But while on our way, the car officially died. Everything gradually stopped working from the speedometer to the lights. We quickly managed to get the car to a garage at the local town, before it completely died. There, we were able to get some help from mechanics. It took a while for them to figure out what the problem was, but it was getting late, so the car rental company gave us a free ride in an Uber to Nairobi, as it was already midnight and Andreas had a flight to catch in the morning.
How long do you think we will be until Nairobi? 2 hours. 2 hours? Okay, that's nice.
Bruh.
2 hours.
We made it back to a hotel in Nairobi super late at night, and Andreas left straight away. Christian and I decided to take a rest day as we didn't have the car. Well, the next day Christian woke up very sick. He had many malaria symptoms, so we rushed to the nearest hospital. He saw a doctor and it turned out to thankfully just be a malaria scare. But he was still very sick. We stayed in the hotel for the rest of our days in Kenya. But on the last day, I still had not seen a hippo, ostrich or lion, so I joined a one-day safari trip to Nairobi National Park in the hope of seeing those animals.
You need to learn that all animals are important and all animals have the right Daisy is aggressive and bites. She bites. So keep a distance. You are too close.
Well, this is pretty much it for Kenya. It was a fun adventure. Now what's only left is to go home with a quick stop in Dublin to meet one of our other friends and celebrate the end of the journey.
So good.
Wow. Wow.
Det är grymt. Wow.
Är du rätt förut? Jag är rätt förut.
So yeah, this is pretty much it. We had a once-in-a-lifetime experience with this trip, magnified by the people, animals and culture of Africa.
May I have some water, please?
We met incredible people, made many new friends, and explored what Africa had to offer, and it did not disappoint. Well, there we are, officially back in Iceland. We gathered our belongings, and that was it. It's over.